Is get all your bullshit done for Mother's Day.
When is that?
Sunday.
Holy fuck.
That's what I said.
I'm giving cash.
Cash?
I love cash. You can Venmo me at Rad Chick forever.
That's what your kids are for.
Oh. Are you one of
They
those
don't have
guys?
cash.
Really? Are you one of those guys?
Say what?
If Danielle and you had a kid, that would be your response? I'm not your son. That's what the kids are for?
Ooh.
Jeez.
No.
Thankfully, I'm an orphan.
That would be different.
Oh.
Alrighty, this is the Gag on This podcast. Check the episode description for the show and guest social media. Email us, gagonthispodcast@gmail.com. Check out our website, gagonthispodcast.com. And I am Big Nick. I'm joined always by my Portuguese lover that is Rob.
Hello.
Joined by the Italian stallion that is Danny D.
What?
Honorary guest host Sharon.
Hello.
Hey, and then we are joined fresh from his roast loss, Ryan Goodcase.
Whoa, hold on a second. I was under that roast. How dare you report false news?
Damn.
Who'd you go up against?
I was against a Parker Newman.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, which was fun. I was looking forward. The first time we were supposed to roast each other, he got sick with the flu. So he had no outs this time. It's like we were going to don't have to go anywhere. It was fun. I love Parker. He's a great writer.
So now that we've established you are wearing a gaming headset, what kind of games are you into?
Oh boy, that's where we're starting. I really hadn't been playing video games for a long time, but now since I'm stuck at home, I been playing Witcher 3 and the Call of Duty Warzone. I'm playing those two.
I've been playing Predator Hunting Grounds. It's an amazing game.
What is that?
It's a new game where you can be Predator or the military, and you fight people online.
All right, I've seen games like that. I was watching someone play the Friday the 13th game where you can be Jason or a bunch of campers.
Yeah, it's by the same people that did it.
Okay, nice. They just changed all the character models.
Pretty much.
Like, why is Predator at Sleepy Hollow or whatever it's called?
Why am I a scantily clad woman with an AK-47?
Hey, aren't you?
Well, I got the breast, so.
That's what you do.
We got Danny fucking with her virtual background. Jesus.
Hey, you know what? I want to be on the beach right
now. All right. So since we started off with roast, I do want to bring up you did Roast Masters in New York City.
Yeah, that was super fun. I was thinking about that actually when I was writing jokes for this one that just happened. I was like watching that video. I was like, can I reuse any of these jokes? That always makes it easier. But yeah, it was super fun. I got roasted by Big J Okerson at the end.
No shit.
So I felt like an honor. I was called disabled looking by Ari Shaffir. So it was kind of a dream come true. That was the best part for me, was just having them make fun of me at the end.
Oh, I would love to get roasted by Ari Shaffir.
Yeah,
that guy's nuts.
The night before, we went to a show at the stand that Ari was on, and I think we came in a little late, so we're getting seated during the show. And I guess I was in Ari's way when he was getting called to the stage, and he just shoved me to the side. I was like, oh, that's another memory I can store.
Dang.
He's comedy great. So I guess his status has sort of changed ever since the Kobe thing. But
oh, yeah, that's right. Well, I mean, to be fair, his Twitter was hacked.
Oh, is that what it was? Yeah. Oh, I hadn't heard that.
Well, that's what he said.
Yeah.
Which is funny because he made when who's the dude that died from a stroke? 90210.
Luke Perry.
Yeah. When he made a joke about him, nothing. Like he called him I think he called him a serial rapist.
Are you trying to compare Luke Perry and Kobe Bryant?
No, why would I do that? One was a great actor and the other was a mediocre ball player.
Wow.
Ooh. Touche.
I don't even like the Lakers, but that's.
I just like Tony Hinchcliffe's thing. His tweet was just like, Kobe passed? No way.
Nice.
So were you nervous for doing it in NYC? Because there were some pretty heavy hitters on that lineup.
Yeah. I guess I was nervous. I remember putting a lot more work into it than I've put into these last ones. Like I was writing the whole week. It's my first time in New York City, so I'm not necessarily sightseeing, but going around the city. And then back in my head, I'm like, all right, how do I make fun of Ashton Tate? Like, what? What's something I make fun of his appearance? So I don't know if that ruined my impression of New York, but yeah, I was nervous, but I think it went well. Listening back to it, it was close, but they gave me the victory, so I can go home with that.
That must have been nice.
Yeah, it
Because
felt good.
you also did it was it at the stand or the cellar?
It was at the stand.
Nice.
Yeah, right before it closed, or relocated rather. Yeah, and I don't know. It's weird. I every time I agree to do a roast, when I'm writing for it, I'm kicking myself and thinking, "Why did I do this?" I don't really know that I like them. It's not really. I feel like I'm trying to not be mean as a person, and that's obviously the whole point of a roast.
Yeah.
But then when I'm actually at the show and doing it, and everyone's having a good time, I'm like, "Oh yeah, this is fun. I'm glad I did this."
Yeah, because that's how I was first introduced to you. You were there when I was the nicest judge with Jackie Pearl.
Yeah, you
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was the tournament style one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was very difficult. You just had to write roast jokes for up to 16 people or whatever it was.
Yeah, because you didn't know who you were going up against.
Yeah, and I ran out against some generic white guy. I remember that, so I just had him labeled in my head, and I had a first 2 generic white guys in a row. So I ran out of those stock jokes, and then I was like, "Hey, can I just do a joke about someone who got knocked out?"
Dude, you're in Rockland. You're gonna have nothing but generic white
Yeah,
guy.
I know. It was tough.
Whoa.
And I really kicking myself because I was in the semis, and if I moved down to the finals, I would have had a generic white woman, which I hadn't faced yet. So I had all those jokes ready to go.
Yeah, but that generic white woman, she was great.
Yeah, she was killed
color?
it. Yeah, went all the way.
Do you guys know who it was?
Yeah, it was Kayla.
Yeah.
It was Kayla.
Mm-hmm.
You sound so far away, Danielle.
Well, she's fucking on the beach of Castaway. I mean, of course she's gonna be far away.
I want to see Wilson.
Where Danny got her groove back.
I never
Oh, my
lost
God.
it.
I don't think you ever had it.
What?
Boom, roast.
There you go.
No,
There you
It's
go.
not just as bad as I did. It's fine.
So I want to talk about your deadpan delivery. Is that something that you've just had from the beginning of comedy, or is that something you worked on?
Maybe a bit of both. I think as far as expressing emotion in my day-to-day, I don't do a lot of that. I'm a pretty deadpan person as it is. And then when you realize that that's one of the things that's funny about you to people, then you start to lean into it and start to use that on stage. And I think I don't know, leaning on it a little bit too much a few years ago. And now I'm starting to work in a little bit of my, real voice with the deadpan. So yeah, started with it and then trying to figure out how to use it, I would say. Because it feels like a crutch sometimes, where it's just like people will laugh at things because of your voice. It's not necessarily the joke quality. It's just because, you sound like Ben Stein. Yeah. See,
But I mean, if the
would've
deadpan works, I would say use it.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess that's it. I don't know, because I'm not gonna, completely rebrand and be like Nick Swartzen jumping up and down. Like I couldn't do that if I wanted to. So I feel like part of it's regulated by your sort of natural inclinations and your personality, what you can do.
Stephen Wright made a career on it.
Yeah, exactly. I just saw him live, I think, last year, and he walks out on stage to applause. I think some people stood up just when he's walking out, and he gets to the microphone and he just goes, "Thanks." And that gets a huge laugh. That's all he had to say in that voice, and that gets a laugh already. So he's definitely got it down.
Now, Stephen Wright, that's the radio guy on Reservoir Dogs, right? That's Stephen Wright?
I think that's right. Yeah.
It's been so long since I've seen that.
Yeah.
That's an old movie.
Sorry, was that too deep of a cut? Jesus, guys.
No, I've definitely seen the movie. I don't remember. That sounds right when you said it.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
I
just don't remember a radio guy on Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah, when he talks right before he plays Steelers Wheel, and Madsen cuts the ear off.
I was more focused on the guy cutting the ear off, I guess.
Oh yeah, you're right. I just looked it up.
Yes.
See, that's the great thing about doing shows over the internet. You can just fact check.
Fact check.
Yeah, and I don't get called right on this podcast very much, so that's good.
Is that why you wanted Brian on? Is that why you wanted him on?
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to interview me if there's just other like facts you want me to look up or trivia.
Is a platypus a mammal? Why don't you do that one?
That one I'm pretty sure I know off the top of my head is correct. But they have certain qualities that make it unlike other mammals. Like they lay eggs.
Eggs, yeah.
And I think they have like poison or venom, which they're the only
Yeah,
mammal
and
that
one
has
of their
that.
nails. And
Yeah.
their nail.
Look at that. You're
Pretty
learning
wild.
stuff.
I do have a major in biology that I'm not using. So
Oh, really?
got some of that knowledge to fall back on.
Now, is it micro or regular?
Regular. I did biology and psychology because I wanted to go into neuroscience.
Oh.
Which I technically am. I'm working in a neuroscience lab right now. I switched to part-time, and then we all went through a pandemic, and I'm like, I don't know about how this money thing's going to work out. But yeah, I'm currently working in a neuroscience lab.
That must be fucking interesting.
It was, yeah. And then
Yeah.
3 years went by, and it became a job. It is interesting. It just research, I think, takes a lot longer than people think. You know, you read the headlines and that's all you get as a consumer. But when you're actually doing the research, like our study's been going on for over 15 years, and it's just looking at the effect of alcohol in the brain, and it's bad. It's not good for your brain. So.
Danny?
You don't need to call me out. I'm not able to drink around here.
Well, here's the thing: marijuana reverses all the negative effects of alcohol. So
Perfect.
There you go.
Really?
Stay
I did not know
crossfade.
that.
Oh yeah, no, it's not true. I made that up.
Oh.
Damn it, I believed you.
Now that you said you work in a neuroscience lab, you could literally tell me anything about the brain. I'd be like, that's amazing.
Yeah. I can tell you one interesting psych fact. You know that that voice you hear in your head that like tells you to do stuff? That's
Which
actually
one?
That's actually Stephen Wright. The voice. It's true. Yeah, no, I was definitely interested in the brain when I started college, and that's where I decided I wanted to go. And then, I don't know, at some point, I think I just really fell in love with comedy. And when I thought maybe, I could pursue that as a career, that's what I put all my energy and interest into.
Now, have you ever pulled from, neuroscience and things like that, or no?
I remember trying to do, not like too technical. I felt like I didn't want to get too like start using a bunch of jargon because I feel like that would turn a regular audience off. I tried to do like some experiences from work, but I never kept anything. I remember like we work with animals, and I try to do a joke about working with animals, and I don't think people like that. They don't want to hear about that. I don't think my work would like me talking about it. They're like, let's keep that on the down low, so we don't have Berkeley protesters come down.
Isn't there, is it Matt Broussard, who's like a mathematician? And he tries to work math jokes in, and I don't think I've ever seen it work.
I think that's right. Yeah.
Okay.
Well, Sammy Obeid's another example. I think he's got a math and engineering degree.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I've seen him do math jokes on stage that actually do work. So
I see math is more funnier than biology. I mean, I can't see a crowd laughing their ass off when you're like, and then I said limbic system.
right. Medulla or I can't even say it. Look at me. A neuroscience degree, and I can't say it. Cut that part out, please.
So ornery.
Don't feel bad. I couldn't figure
We
out
can't hear you.
I couldn't figure out my first grader's math homework.
Oh, geez.
Which we will be doing later in the podcast. So
All
look
right.
forward to that, guys.
That's
Math
fun.
homework?
Wow.
Oh,
We're-
it's nuts.
We're
First
doing
grade?
your child's homework? That seems...
No, we got these packets. We'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Fuck it. Do it now. The suspense is killing me.
So we got these packets because, it's all homeschooling now.
Right.
And where did you go? It was one of the packets because the wife handed it to me the other day and said, here, I can't figure this out. And I thought, you fucking idiot. So, and then I was reading it. It was a blank worksheet with some squares on it. So here's the instructions. Add within 100, including adding a 2-digit number and a 1-digit number, and adding a 2-digit number and a multiple of 10 using concrete models or drawings and strategies based on place value, properties of operations, and or the relationship between addition and subtraction. Relate the strategy to a written method and explain the reasoning used. Understand that in adding 2-digit numbers, one adds tens and tens, ones and ones, and then sometimes it is necessary to compose a 10.
That's one question?
That
Yeah.
was the description.
It's a long sentence.
No
It's a
shit.
long sentence.
It's first grade. I thought it was like 8 plus 9.
Well, that's pretty much what they want. It's just pretty much they're saying you add ones and tens separately, but it was just the most poorly written thing. And it's
Yeah,
still,
speaking
it's
of
still
jargon, why are they using property and place values?
no, I guarantee you, first grade teachers don't even know how to fucking read that.
That's
No.
crazy.
Well, it does sound like it's Common Core math, and Common Core math is by far the stupidest thing they are teaching kids these days.
What is that? What does that mean?
So Common Core math, what you would do is you create a 2x2 square, and then let's say it's 120 or whatever plus 45. What you would do is you would put all the numbers down, so you'd have 12 tens, and then you'd have 1 1 or something like that. And then you would add the square, add the square, add the square, and then you would total up it going across, and then you'd add those two final numbers. It is a
Tired.
waste.
You are now my kid's tutor.
The only reason I know it is because I looked it up on YouTube, and it is the stupidest thing ever.
I don't like
So
that
there's
at
no
all.
more carry the one and or any of that shit.
Nope.
Okay,
I stopped helping my kids with homework a long time ago.
because they
Wow.
passed you.
No, because my son got pulled for perjury or fucking copywriting. I don't fucking know. I took
Plagiarism.
Yeah, copyright issues.
plagiarism, and I got called into the principal's office.
Oh, you told yeah. That's
On
right.
this math homework, they were like, "Hey, we've seen this 100 plus 12 problem before. You didn't come up with that."
Yeah.
I think Pythagorean did this a little bit before you did.
It's tough to just come up with a new way to teach kids. Like, do they just they come up with this Common Core math grid, and then they just test it on a bunch of kids, and if it doesn't work, those kids just wasted like 3
Yeah.
months and they don't know how to add? That's
They
crazy.
wasted years. Yeah.
Well, it's
Common
like
Core
they
is
dropped
that.
phonics and went to sight words and all that nonsense. So
Huh.
I don't know.
Man, I'm worried
I'm the
about
generation that was hooked on goddamn fun.
Yes, I was too.
So back to dick jokes.
Yeah, sorry.
So, you have a child that's in first grade, and they're
Yeah.
doing classes over Zoom, or just the take-home packets?
Take home packets, and they meet
Okay.
like once a week.
Because I had a friend who has a young child who I think is even younger than first grade that's doing like classes over Zoom. I thought that was kind of absurd. Like, I was wondering if they still do nap time over Zoom.
That'd be awesome.
Like, what are you doing with
On
little...
3, bite the graham cracker.
That's tough. I do not envy those parents who have to work and like teach their kids at the same time. That's wild.
Don't have kids.
Yeah.
My daughter loves it. My daughter
Oh, really?
loves the whole. Yeah, she loves those the whole over the video and stuff. She's like, I don't want to go back. I'm like, really?
Are they live or are they recorded? Like in Zoom?
Live.
Okay.
So basically, they get basically have a certain time to go to, and they all go there, and then they get broken up into certain groups. And it's funny because she basically talks about they actually still talk about social interaction, like they're like, oh, that's the cool kids, or that's the cool group. We're the cool group, Dad. I'm like,
They have-
how y'all the cool group?
Can I sit in the right bottom corner of the monitor with the cool?
Yeah. We're broken up in groups now. Yeah?
That's
So, yeah,
wild.
it's fun to me. They want to be like us, Dad, but they can't.
So I want to talk about you winning the World Series of Comedy.
Yeah,
Ooh.
And
Yeah.
you are the youngest winner ever.
that's right. I think I got a few years on the person. I think Jason Chaney was also young when he won. But yeah, I won that last year. It was super exciting. Took place in East St. Louis Illinois. And I got a bunch of club work out of it. It was supposed to be like 30 weeks of club work this year. So I started doing some of that in the beginning of the year, and then obviously I've had like I think 5 weekends canceled during this quarantine. So that's gonna hurt, but hopefully I can claim those, after this is over.
Now, when you say club work, you mean like just nationwide club work?
Yeah. Like I did a weekend in Naples, Florida, and then went to Tulsa, Oklahoma. So just kind of, just a lot of it was middle of the country, but just all over. I'm supposed to go to Boston, hopefully in June. Yeah.
Middle America.
Yeah. That's what, like when I was doing a show in Oakland or Oklahoma rather, and just seeing some of the stuff that would get applause breaks. Like I saw a joke about defending your home with a gun get an applause break. And a joke about building the wall get an applause break. It was wild. Yeah, it's like a lot different than what I'm used to.
Yeah.
Adapt a little bit. Not that I do a lot of political jokes, but it's like, okay, you guys are a different breed out here.
That's when you go up there and be like, me and my black friend.
Like, whoa, hey, slow down here. Yeah, it's wild. But I can kind of just lean on, like, if I just make fun of me for being like, gawky and nerdy and like, oh, I bet you could beat me up. That's pretty universal. People love that wherever you go, which is good. Have that to fall back on.
I think you could take Sharon.
You think?
Sharon's got muscles.
Only if he's missing like the lower half of his body, and I just can't see that.
Well, one right now,
like shoulders up.
I got one bad eye, so you probably give me on the left.
Okay, good to know. Thank you.
Jesus.
World Series was cool though. I'm not a huge competition guy. Actually, gosh, I don't know if I could go back and trace why I decided to do it.
That's why I first met you, and I thought you were great. I thought you were fucking awesome.
Was that in Sacramento?
Yeah, it was.
Okay, yeah, thank you. That was a fun show. That was my first time at Laughs Unlimited, and I loved it.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
wow.
Yeah. That's one of the reasons, I guess, just to get introduced to these clubs.
Yeah.
Because you don't really want to drive up to Sacramento just to introduce yourself, to Jenny, unless she knows who you are, might be able to see you perform. So
right.
Having a reason to go up there and perform was good. And then, I think Paul Conyers is one who told me about World Series. He got me to do it. And then you do all these satellite shows, qualify for the main event. And from there, it's, skill and chance and luck and kind of set of circumstances lucked out on winning. It's good.
What do you mean by it? Luck has something to do with it?
I think I don't know. I mean, comedy is so, what's the word? Like fickle. Like it's a set of circumstances, I think, each night. Like obviously when you're a professional, you can make it work almost every night of the week. But like, for example, the competition main event was 10 p.m. on a Saturday in like a hotel conference room. And they had done the semis at 8 o'clock. About half the audience stayed. So all the people that moved on from the semis, like the first guy went up and did one of the same jokes as in the first round, which is completely acceptable, started getting heckled by the people who stayed. And I think that really threw him off. And then I
wanted to say, like, your set compared to like Paul's, because I believe it was like you and Paul and like one other guy, and like you did everything. It wasn't the same. Like Paul even kind of referred back to his vanilla latte and everything, but like your set was completely different, which I was just like, damn, he did that so well.
Yes, that was in the set. Thank you. That was in the Sacramento satellite show.
Yeah.
I probably reused some jokes, but I definitely do my set different when it's 20 minutes versus when it's 7 minutes.
Yeah.
And then the middle guy on the finals night did maybe 17 minutes of crowd work in a 25-minute set. And he did good because it was, a light night and the crowd was getting something different. But the judges, who were all comedy club owners, didn't like that. They're like, we want to see material. We want to see what you can do of your own stuff. And that's kind of, how I won. As I stayed in my pocket, had a decent set. You'd imagine winning like I'm killing it, but I didn't kill this set. Like I don't think anyone the audience of the World Series is going to remember me or, remember that night. But I guess I did the best comparatively and got the win. Yeah. Comedy's weird. It's
Only
weird to
Danny
put
would know.
What? Oh
She
yeah.
reminds everybody.
I'm the only one still out here trying.
Pretty much.
Well, are you guys all in Sacramento? Are we like representing different?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sacramento.
Yep.
Okay.
I'm from Citrus Heights proper, so.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah. Don't worry.
Oh, that's
about
right.
it. You don't need to know.
You're from Menlo Park, right?
Yeah, I'm down here in South Bay.
Have you
Is,
grown up
is
there?
Citrus Heights like the Orange County of Sacramento?
Not even
Call it
close.
Citrus Heights, where like the trashiest of the trash live.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Nice.
I thought that was Rancho.
Fuck you.
That's Nick.
Fuck you.
Rancho Cordova. I thought that was the place for the trash.
Come say it in the show. Come say it there.
I'll find you. You know, I'll find you.
Since you live in what's the ghetto by Menlo Park? Because I imagine it's very difficult to find one.
Isn't it
Yeah.
East Palo Alto?
The East Palo Alto is what I was gonna
EPA.
say. Yeah.
EPA.
I think it's I think it's gotten a lot better from what I've heard, but like I joined a East Palo Alto Facebook group that I've used to like post shows in, and every once in a while I'll just pass a post in there that was like 10 gunshots. Come on, I'm trying to sleep. Like which is like I'm not exposed to that. I don't know where that's going on, but they're posting about it in the Facebook group. Yeah.
Now, have you grown up in Menlo Park your whole life?
No, I moved to California about 3 years ago. I lived a few different places growing up, but I spent most of my time in Michigan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I thought you just went there for college. So
I went there for college, but I grew up there, I guess, second grade through freshman year of high school. I moved around a lot.
Oh, okay.
What part?
Of Michigan, near Ann Arbor, small town.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Went to Eastern Michigan University.
move from Ann Arbor to Menlo Park. Oh, damn.
Yeah, you kind of dialed in on the places I like to live. I don't even think that's true. I guess I am a little scared to live in like a real city. But I don't know. I want to at some point. I feel like my next move will be somewhere more interesting, where there's culture and different skin tones.
Well, good luck for that. I'm trying to think what would be. I mean, New York's, I guess, a melting pot more than most places.
I am planning on moving to San Jose in a few months. So
Okay.
that'll be
Came from
something.
there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So, I mean,
I like San
don't-
Jose.
Yeah, it's just fucking expensive to live.
Yeah.
So,
Well, Menlo Park's not any different.
Yeah.
No,
Menlo
it's
Park
just as
is
bad.
not.
Yeah, I'm living in a house. Actually, I'm in Atherton, if that makes it any
Mhm.
better.
Okay.
But to explain how someone working part-time and then as a stand-up comedian is living in Atherton, I have 8 roommates.
Oh my god.
Which just the absurdity of, quarantining or social distancing when you have 8 roommates. Like, I feel like I'm in a Big Brother reality TV show and just
Yeah.
nobody's watching. That's what my life feels like.
What is it, like a 4-bedroom, 5-bedroom? Like what?
There's 8 bedrooms. I don't
Oh,
think
wow.
oh shit.
all of the rooms were bedrooms when they sort of turned this house over to this company called Bungalow.
Mhm.
Provides mass housing or whatever.
Okay.
They call it something less dystopian.
My buddy Saul does that in LA. He
Yeah,
lives with,
yeah.
like,
They do it in
11
all like
fucking people.
places
Yeah.
where it's hard to find housing.
Yeah. That's a lot.
Okay.
A lot of
Uh,
personalities.
Yeah, some people are not staying here, so I think it's only like 4 or 5. But I
that's
don't
good.
care because I'm out like every night doing comedy. But now that I'm home all the time and I've got to like see all their dirty dishes and explain to one of my roommates that you can't flush napkins down the toilet. It was hard to find toilet paper. I went in the bathroom and there's just a stack of napkins by the toilet. And I just came out to the kitchen
Our
when
life.
people were making food. And I was like, you guys, you can't flush these, right? And the guy was like, oh, no, I flushed it. It was fine. I was like, no, that's not the problem. It's not what I'm
That
saying.
sounds like something I would say. Like it was fine.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
yeah.
So,
That is such a me response right there. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, don't worry. It went down fine. I don't see what the
Yeah.
issue is.
yeah.
Okay.
Overall, it's been good, though. I'm glad the stockpiling or running out of supplies has sort of died down. I guess there might be a new wave of that, though. They're saying some of the like meat processing
Yeah.
places are having
Wow.
trouble keeping their numbers up. So, which if this goes full apocalypse, I'll probably have to murder all 8 of my roommates because
You'll
like-
have meat.
yeah, well that and like there's no way they're going to abide to some, apocalyptic like council. Like they eat my food now when
Yeah.
Oh.
good.
Yeah.
When the grid goes down, they're probably going to be even worse assholes. So I'll probably have to murder them all.
I was gonna say you have to murder them all before they murder you.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, that's the idea.
I mean, if
I'm
they're
a-
eating your food, they have no qualms about eating you.
Exactly. And I'm probably like, there's the least meat on me. It would be the,
Mhm.
see, I guess that's sort of the, catch-22 maybe of cannibalism is the person with the least meat is probably the easiest to kill. But then the person who's like, I don't know. I guess if you're a big fat guy, you'd probably be kind of easy to kill. We don't have to have this conversation.
Wouldn't take much, but I'd be willing to go too.
Yeah.
It would be cool.
Oh, dang.
If they like
Fine.
find this podcast 200 years from now after the apocalypse and they're using it for like archaeology reasons, they're like,
I doubt
this
it.
is how they were thinking about cannibalism.
You're probably so skinny it's like eating rabbits. Like you'll actually starve to death if you continue to eat rabbits. If we continue to eat people like you, we'll starve to death.
Is that
It's
true?
not true. I grew up on rabbits.
No, it's not rabbits.
Oh my
Hare.
god.
It's hare, wild hare.
Oh wow.
What?
Same fucking thing.
No, but
It
I
is,
guess
it's
they
a little
don't
bigger.
have the nutrients needed because they're
Oh.
so agile that
Huh.
yeah, if you keep eating them, you'll eventually starve to death because you're nutrient deprived.
Interesting.
So you need a fat cow.
Well, they're not full of nutrients either. I mean, if you kill me, I'm probably all fat. There's probably not a lot of like fucking, tender cuts here. Like,
Got some
it's-
gristle.
yeah, it's fucking gristle for sure. I mean,
Bacon.
yeah, we just got to go kill some bodybuilders or something. I don't know.
We're
They
supposed to-
better.
Yeah, I was watching this video series where a survivalist was watching survival movies and ranking them for realism. And I guess one of them was just about the Donner Party,
Mhm.
which I don't know, not the best survival flick in my opinion. But I guess the survival guy was saying that you should start with the ass. That's where you're supposed to eat some
Oh,
Yes.
people,
just start
you
with
can
the
all the
yes.
That's
vital
your
organs.
prime cut.
Yeah.
Okay.
Rob's already there, man. He's
Tim
gonna
won't let
outlast
him.
us all. So when
Yes.
you did you become a paid regular before or after the World Series of Comedy?
So at the local clubs, I was a paid regular through Live Nation, so the Punchlines and Cobb's, and then also Rooster Feathers in Sunnyvale. Laughs Unlimited, I sort of was passed after the World Series. So I mean, I was getting these club dates that were on the road outside of the Bay Area. Were all coming from the World Series.
Mm.
It's a good credit, it sounds good. You won the World Series of Comedy.
Yeah.
So all the clubs that participated and hosted the satellites would give me a weekend. And then I also would reach out to other clubs not associated and sometimes get work that way.
Now, when you say you got passed by Live Nation, did you perform for Live Nation themselves and they put you in the clubs, or did you have to perform at each club?
For like,
Yeah, they have like I don't know what his title is, like a talent booking person who hosts like a local showcase every
you're
Sunday.
talking about Ron Vi?
Yeah, Ron
Yeah.
Vi at Punchline. And then there's just a process there. You show up to the shows, perform a few times in front of him. He'll give you like a few auditions hosting the showcases or performing at Cobb's, and that's how I got passed through that way. But
Now,
I don't,
we
he's like
had
a
some-
Live Nation employee, but it's not like, like a scary business guy in a
Yeah.
suit
Oh, okay.
passing you off.
He's
Nope.
yeah.
Danny, you were about to say something?
He's fun.
Provocative?
He's a very fun, like flamboyant guy. Like you'll know if he likes you, you'll know if he doesn't. Like you'll know. He's very
Yeah, it's pretty.
he's not very approachable, but you'll know if you can. Just don't.
I
do
thought
it
he didn't like me
setting.
the whole time. Like he
Yeah.
would be giving me auditions and complimenting my comedy, but also just terrifying the hell out of me. The first time I met him, he was like sitting in a different club like this, and I went up to introduce myself because I was told you're supposed to introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Ryan Goodcase. And he just stayed like this and looked at me. He's like, why didn't you introduce yourself at Punchline? Never shook my hand.
Damn.
So I just instantly almost like started shitting my pants and like backing up nervous. And he loosened up a little after that. He's like, I'll come back and I'll talk to you. Told me that one of my jokes was similar to another comedian's. And then, yeah, I was scared.
Damn.
I'm not like those people who just like are confident in front of, I guess, gatekeepers or whoever you're auditioning for. I turn into like the most stumbling, nervous oaf, and I think it really works against me. Like I just look like I don't know what I'm doing because I get all clammy. It's bad.
We've had Mean Dave and Becky, and they talked about how they were nervous as shit for doing it.
That's surprising to me. Yeah, Mean Dave seems pretty, solid. Actually, both of them seem like they are pretty, not nervous about anything. But that's how much fear he inspires.
Wow.
Hold on. I gotta grab my shit.
Your math problems? I thought we were actually gonna do them. I'm a little disappointed.
I mean, do you guys seriously want to try to do it?
That sounds like horrible podcasting.
No, I don't want to try to do math. What the fuck?
Right,
I just think it'd be funny if like your teacher like reached out to you, Rob, and was like, one of the other parents saw you doing your kid's homework on the podcast.
I know she was lying.
If that parent is listening to the podcast, Rob has more problems on his hand than just math.
For sure.
So let's talk about the Bed Bath & Beyond.
Oh, yeah, sure. I'm curious, did any of you guys see the commercial organically? Like, did it ever pop up?
No.
It was one of those commercials that would play before like a YouTube video or a Facebook video. And I guess it's depending, like those ads are all targeted, right? Based on your search for your buying. So if you guys don't shop there or search for like scented candles or whatever, it might not come up. But I had certain friends who said that the commercial that I was in would play for them like 5 times a day.
Nice.
Drive them crazy. Yeah. But yeah, I was in a commercial for Bed Bath & Beyond. There's a talent agent who, not talent agent, what's the word? He wrote ads, and he was also a stand-up comedian and like recommended I audition for it. But I think he just had me in mind for it the whole time. So got to do a commercial where I played a deadpan employee. Didn't really have to act, just said the lines like I would say them. Which is probably the extent of acting I could do. I don't know if I can pretend to be anything else.
Now, one of our former co-hosts did a little acting in commercials. I'm wondering if yours is the same. Basically, he said it was the majority of the time he was just waiting around.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of that, which is awesome. You're getting paid for that, right? Because I think we were out on location at Bed Bath & Beyond, San Francisco. We show up pretty early, probably like 7, 8, no, I think probably 6 a.m. and we're there till 4 p.m. So it's a 10-hour day.
Wow.
Yeah. And so they've like put the makeup and the hair and all that, and that takes up a lot of it. And then you say the same line 100 times or variations of the same line 100 times until it just becomes absurd and the words lose all meaning. And then in between all that, you're just sitting around like talking to the other actors or parts of the crew and just hanging out, bunch of food you can eat. It's a pretty cushy lifestyle. I don't really know that I have any sympathy for people who complain about being an actor. Especially a commercial actor. I think another comedian who works in that industry told me that you could be a commercial actor, work 5 days a year, and make $120,000. And that's just your life. Do whatever else you want during the other times. Yeah.
I'm going to try that.
That's like TV, like I guess the top of, commercial actors, however you get there. But
low from Progressive.
Yeah, pretty sweet life. She was an improv actor.
Yeah, she's actually one of the few that can now teach at the Groundlings.
Oh, interesting. Oh, so she's still doing it. Cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, she can teach. Will Ferrell can teach. Pee-wee can teach.
Oh.
That's awesome.
You laughed.
I mean, granted, it's Paul Herman, but I mean, it's fucking
Yeah.
Pee-wee.
Yeah, he's
How
showing
to
up in the
not
gray
get
suit.
caught jerking off in a theater.
I think he got a raw deal. I mean,
Totally.
I don't see what the problem is.
Everyone else in there was doing that.
It's jerking
Yeah.
off.
I mean, people jerk off all the time. It's fine.
Yeah, I guess just like the image in my head of like what his facial expression was. Like he's definitely dressed as Pee Wee Herman while he's jerking off in the movie theater.
Yeah.
And like just doing one of those. He's probably making noise too. That's how
Like,
they caught him.
Picture him
Or
dressed up
something.
like
Yeah.
Spleen from Mystery Men.
Wow.
He
oh,
was
that's a
in
great
Mystery Men?
cut. Yes, he was.
Oh my gosh.
I've never seen that.
Is that
He-
movie worth
he was-
watching?
Yes.
Okay.
No.
It's not great, but definitely it's worth watching.
What else are you gonna do? I mean, fuck it. Why not?
I think I saw it as a child and didn't really, understand a lot of the humor.
Well, I think when you understand the backstory, it's based on this comic book called The Flaming Carrot, where this guy, what he is he just runs around with a big carrot on the top of his head, and his weapon is rubber bands.
Yeah, that
That's
sounds
it.
fun.
Shit. What was I talking? Oh yeah, random factoid about Pee Wee Herman. He was in Buffy the Vampire Slayer movie. I don't know if you guys
Yes.
saw it.
No,
was.
Yeah,
no.
I remember that. I still remember that one. He was like,
Yeah. So they released.
Oh.
Whoa! What the hell happened there?
Let's
You
turn it
laughed so hard it fell off.
I had
He's
it on
like,
a
no, I'm showing
stand.
you, I
it fell
do
off.
have a lower body.
It went
I can't
down.
Take you.
I gotta grab my charger before this dies. Hold on.
Okay.
Black Hawk Down.
But no, they had they released like a special book for the movie, and it had all the cast like bio and stuff like that. When it came to Pee Wee Herman's page, it was blank.
Really?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Just because he was like such a big celebrity, or because they were covering up the jerking off thing?
The jerking off thing, because he got
Nothing, yeah.
caught right after that was released.
Ah, that's whack.
Oh, yeah.
That's a shame. I'm glad he was able to return to, he can still do stuff, right? Like you see him on interviews. I think he just did some Broadway thing or something.
Really?
Well, didn't he do the Dirk Diggler movie like a few years after that?
No, he did Blow.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. Oh.
He was in Blow, and then he was also in Reno 911 for a long time.
Wow.
Yeah,
Oh, really?
Bobcat
Not
has
talking
a funny,
about Pee Wee Herman, are we?
Yeah.
Still, yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
No, Bobcat had a funny story about when he was in Blow with was it Depp
Yeah, Johnny Depp.
and Pee Wee, and they were all joking about how they were all on probation or parole. And they were like talking about, oh, what'd you get in here for? Oh, what'd you get in here for? And they look at Pee Wee like, okay, so next thing.
That's good.
So you've done comedy at Sacramento in the Bay Area. How do you feel those two differ in a way?
I think Sacramento is probably a little bit more of a diverse crowd, especially like San Francisco. I don't know, but in terms of the city diversity compared to Sacramento, but like who's going to the comedy shows, and especially if it's a paid show and who's paying the money, it feels like it's sort of a singular group of people. Maybe some tourists thrown in, whereas Sacramento seems like it's more, I don't know. I guess you do get some rowdy people in Sacramento as well. I've had some drunk people like in clubs, like at Sac Punch. I feel like you see more of that than in San Francisco. Yeah, I enjoy performing in both. I think Sacramento, every time I go up there, I have fun in the clubs at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the crowds there a lot. They're fun. They're just down to like they're ready for whatever. Where I feel like San Francisco could be a little bit more stuck up or a little harder to impress, maybe. Sacramento's easily impressed. That's what I wanted to. That's how. They're like, oh my God, you hear the words coming out of his mouth? Yeah. Talking
Hilarious.
so fast.
Well, plus we have Robert Bess up here. I mean, he's
Ugh.
a comedy staple.
Robert Best.
Bess.
He's a
Best.
guy that goes to like all the comedy shows, and his laugh is just
Oh.
like you can hear it. It's like Santa Claus laughing. It's so fucking loud and like it's contagious.
But
Yeah,
it's
like, he goes
great.
to literally like every like every
Oh,
comedy
yeah.
show.
Oh, no.
Because he's an
Everyone,
easy
like-
laugh. So whenever I do an open mic and see him there, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, at least I got one guy on my side.
That's
Yeah.
good. That's sort of
I-
a fine line when you've got a laugher like that. It sounds
Yeah,
like
I
you've
don't-
got a good laugh and that it's contagious, but some laughers can really disrupt the show.
some of
They
it.
just sound annoying, or if they're offbeat with their laughter, like they just don't laugh at the right time, so they can really kind of fuck stuff up.
I remember one time he was walking right by me and he laughed, and his laugh is so goddamn loud. Like when it's right next to you, it'll pierce your eardrums for sure.
Yeah.
Dang.
I've never sat that close to him.
Well, I mean, he
That's
does
that close.
walk.
It doesn't walk, yeah.
There's a similar person in South Bay who goes to a lot of the South Bay comedy shows and is really sort of tuned in to the community without like doing comedy himself. But he always sits in the very front row. And I know he does that with good intentions, because you want people up close. But when you're about to go up and you see him and you know that he's seen like the exact set that you're
Everything,
about to do, and he's still so positive, he's still smiling and like laughing along, but it's like you're faking it. Like you know it.
Yeah.
You told that joke last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A little hard. I just try to look past him.
Being married for 10 years, you get used to them faking it.
Oh.
With the jokes and your sex, I assume. Yeah. Yeah. That's
Wow.
oh man. Yeah, we're talking about kids. I don't think I want to get married either. I feel
Don't do
like,
it.
yeah.
If you talk to
Give me all the
Rob,
advice.
Why? Rob.
families
God
are
damn,
horrible.
Rob.
He wants to
God.
be in an early grave. Like
Okay,
that's
but
what
you're
family
the
has done for
motherfucker
him.
who's riding his bike with his son and like building a birdhouse. Like, don't fucking act
Dude,
like you don't love your
That
little
was the
trophy.
fucking most unfun bike ride I've ever had in
It
my
looked
life.
unfun. It did look unfun. However, your picture was cute. I mean,
I didn't post it for the
Oh.
record.
yeah, your wife and I are friends. Your wife and I are
Yeah,
friends.
my wife's in that
Facebook.
category of look how great my life is on Facebook.
Yeah, well, you know.
I'm gonna go cry myself to sleep. So
Well, be nice to her, bitch. Fuck.
I was just prepping shit for Mother's Day.
Ah, yes.
That's
I mean-
fuck. It's Sunday. Jesus Christ.
I know.
Oh my God, shut up.
Well, what do you have to do for Mother's
Yeah,
Day?
what do you
You're making
guys
it sound like
have to
it's going to be a
do?
big production.
Well,
Can't
it's
you
like
just send something over?
well, we're more experience based on shit we give each other because we have too much crap,
Hmm.
and also I got to cover for the 7-year-old because he's a shitty shopper. So you're
Have her
shopping
make
for
it
two.
hard. Don't buy her shit. Just make her something.
Oh, I know, but and usually like she loves comedy shows and she loves theater and stuff like that. Normally that's my go-to, but that's not really an option right now. So
Have her log into a Zoom show on Mother's Day. I'm part of one. It's fine.
that sounds
Wow.
like
That's a punishment.
reheating shitty food. No,
Right? I know,
that
right?
hurts.
take these
That
shitty
hurts.
leftovers and cook them.
Oh,
up.
that hurts.
Yeah, we'll dedicate it to her. we'll
Sorry to
dedicate our
anyone that
shitty
does
show.
Zoom comedy. I mean, I get it, but it's not. I can't do it.
Well, you
Have you
didn't do
tried?
regular comedy.
I can't.
Oh,
Huh?
You didn't really do regular comedy.
It's just kind
No.
of stuck there.
I don't
Have you
know.
tried
Just-
doing a Zoom show?
No.
It definitely I was apprehensive, but the first one I did went a lot better than I was expecting.
Yeah.
What
okay.
part of it doesn't appeal to you?
I just like being in the my first comedy show I ever went to was the original Cobb's.
Hmm.
So the little one in the cannery. So I'm used to these shitty little rooms and it's just that feel that you get. It's
Yeah.
like I can watch TV. I'm just going to watch TV and I zone out.
Yeah,
So I just like to be there,
that's
and
fair. Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't get that feeling at all from the Zoom
not at
shows.
all.
Like,
plus you haven't seen it in this podcast, so congrats, Rob. But if he's on the computer, everybody wants to come in and bug him.
Well, the
I mean-
wife is out right now and the kid is watching some TV. So I'm safe for a while.
We're ruining his
Bummer.
porn time. God damn it. We're ruining his porn time. Kim's gone.
Porn
Going back to
time.
Mother's Day, what do you guys think about this? My dad, before Mother's Day or my mom's birthday or anything like that, will always send me a text maybe a week in advance or a few days in advance, like, don't forget your mom's birthday's next week, or don't forget your Mother's Day's next week. And I'm always prepared. Like, I always know but I don't want to. Should I tell him like I got it covered, or
You know what? There's going to be
let your
one
dad
year
do it.
where you're
Let your dad do
grateful,
it.
especially like when you start traveling again. You're like, oh fuck.
Yeah.
So you'll be so glad for that text.
Okay.
Because your
All
dad
right.
feels like he's doing something, you know?
Yeah, well, it
There's
felt
a
a little.
purpose.
I don't know if he feels like I need it. Like when he's sending the text, he's like, "Oh, I better go text Ryan because he has no fucking idea when his
He
mom
probably just remembered himself.
doesn't even know what day it is." Well, the thing that's interesting, my dad. I don't know if you heard of anyone else doing this, but for anniversary or for Valentine's Day, he never buys my mom the gift on the day of.
That's
He'll
good.
either do it a few days before or a few days after. And my theory
Few
is
days
that
after.
my theory is that he's giving himself a buffer of like forgetting. So since he's set a precedent that I'll never be the day of, he has like basically 4 or 5 days to remember.
That's
And
intelligent.
he saves a shit ton of money, you know?
Yeah, he saves money. Doesn't have to work with the lines. I think he's got a lot of reasons for it.
Yeah.
Does that work for Christmas too?
He doesn't do it for Christmas. I was gonna say he doesn't buy a lot of gifts, but he does buy gifts for my mom and does do it the day of. But I guess he does that in advance.
That's when you just be like, technically, Jesus was born a couple months later, so I got some time.
And
And
possibly
no-
4 years earlier.
That's true.
Oh, is that right? He
Yeah,
lied about his
apparently.
birth
He was like 3 or 4 years pre me.
That's good. I like that.
God has a preemie kid? No way.
That's why it's a miracle. He was born 3 years premature and lived.
The abortion that survived.
Oh, is that the kid?
Yeah.
That's all dope, and yeah.
There's
yeah.
Owen.
His kid looks like the kid from Christmas Story. It's so cute. I wanted to like stick his
Aw.
tongue to a fucking Frozen thing.
Hi, Owen. This is what you look like in the future.
He can't hear you.
Hi.
Hey, Owen.
Hey, Owen.
He can't hear all the horrible things we're saying about his
That's
little fuck trophy. It's good.
Yeah,
Take this ball. Get out of here.
Yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Wow.
But no, my dad doesn't do that, but my mom does. And what's more infuriating is my mom will be like, "Hey, it's your dad's birthday. You should probably call him and say something nice."
Right.
And I'm like,
Also, because you were a piece of shit growing up, weren't you?
but the thing is, if she tells me, I was, yes, to
Yeah.
answer the question. But if she tells me, "Hey, it's your dad's birthday," I'm not just going to sit here and ignore it. I'm going to call or say something nice.
Yeah, that extra little implication that you wouldn't do anything, that makes
Yeah.
it hurt a little bit more.
Like you would call him and be like, "Fuck you."
Yeah.
Like, you know, obviously you're gonna say something nice. It's his birthday. What the fuck? You
When
know.
is
I'm
your
just-
dad's birthday? Should we call him right now? You should
It's-
call your
let's-
dad and say something nice right now.
It's
Yeah.
August 4th.
Okay.
All right.
My
I'm not
dad's
gonna
never
do it.
been big on birthdays, so I know my mom's birthday and my brother's birthday. My dad, it's either 4th or the 9th. I know it's in August.
Dang.
That's why you get that phone call.
That's
That's why.
another
Exactly.
thing that I had a question about. 2 years ago, still thinking about it. My parents had, this actually might make me look bad in this scenario. I think it was their 30th anniversary.
Mhm.
And I didn't text them or call them or anything for that. You know, my dad didn't send me a reminder for their anniversary. And then,
Gotcha.
my birthday is September 6th. And my parents didn't call me. And it was the first time in like, you know, a run of years that they didn't call me on my birthday. I don't even know if I think I probably got text, but they didn't call me. And then when I talked to him after that and I asked him about it, I was like, "Oh yeah, well you didn't call us on our anniversary."
Damn.
Like, that was like payback.
Salty.
Wow.
Holy shit,
I
dude.
was like, I'm
Like
your
it-
son. You know, I don't think kids are supposed to care about their parents' anniversary.
Yeah, what the fuck do I care?
Well, for the round numbers, like we did a big deal for my in-laws when they got their 50
That's
year.
50 though.
But 30 is a big one too. I mean,
Yeah.
considering
I'm
most
sure
people
every
don't
day
last
is
5.
a fucking every day. Every day.
I don't know.
Every day.
Plus,
It
isn't
is
the
pretty
50th,
harsh though.
Isn't the 50th like the silver anniversary?
Yeah.
Golden.
Yeah.
Yeah, my aunt and uncle just did their 50th. I don't fucking know. I don't even know how they're still married. I don't know how people do that for that long.
I don't know how they're still married.
Yeah, like my uncle is just the sweetest guy ever, and my aunt's a fucking cunt. Like, I just don't know why he
That's
puts
how
up
it
with her.
bounces out.
Opposites attract. Yeah.
Man,
You
that's
can't
a
just
mess.
have two
balance.
nice
Give up.
people in a relationship. That doesn't work.
He's
Yeah,
probably in
well,
my school if you just give up and fucking deal with it.
I guess. I mean, I guess I wouldn't put up with that shit.
I think it's funny that people talk about marriage being this big thing, but whenever you talk to somebody that's been married for quite some time, they're usually like Rob, like, no, don't do it. It's horrible.
You know, there are some people, like I got a couple of buddies that I've seen them single and married and divorced, and they're definitely better married. They just are better having someone telling them what to do.
Mm.
I mean, yeah, I know guys like that. I know
Yeah,
guys.
and they were miserable when they were on their own. It's
Yeah.
like, dude, you're going out with different women all the time. It's like, yeah, but so
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm the opposite. Like every third day, I just like don't want to talk to anyone or see anyone. So unless the person in the relationship's on the same page, like it usually doesn't work out.
That's probably hard to find.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of
Probably.
people like, "Oh, I didn't want to see like you're doing a show in the city I was in. Why didn't you text me and like hang out?" I was like, I
Yeah.
just I wanted to do the show and go home and do whatever I want,
Yeah.
like my independence, you know.
Be surprised.
you're in the perfect job then.
How old are you?
Exactly.
Right.
26.
Okay. And how
Oh,
long have you been
damn.
doing comedy?
I think I'm over 5 years now. Probably coming up
Wow.
on 6. Yeah.
That's
So you
awesome.
started in 21?
I started 20, I believe. Yeah. I was in
That's amazing.
college. It's kind of weird. It was like one of those weird, I did one show and then maybe didn't go up for another 3 or 4 months. So it's hard for me to put down when I started.
We're
Yeah.
open mics like in Michigan.
A lot of comics.
Really?
Yeah, like I mean, like the ratio of the audience. Like I rarely remember going to an open mic that had like pedestrians watching. A lot
It's
of
like up here.
yeah, a lot of mics in different rooms, and you're just kind of performing in front of comics. At least this is what my memory was. There was one, like the Ann Arbor Comedy Showcase had like a Wednesday night or something that was new talent. You called on Friday, listened to the voicemail on Saturday to see if you're on for the next week. And those shows were great. That was sort of my first taste of like a really good open mic experience. But I remember the owner of the club actually watches those sets. And after he saw me perform on a good set, he came up to me. He didn't say it to me. That's what made it hurt even more. Is he was talking to another comedian, and he's like, "Doesn't he remind you of Emo Phillips?" And I didn't know who that was at the time, so I was like, "Oh, he's comparing me to another comedian. That's awesome." And then I looked him up and just saw that he's like a freak. And I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
he thinks I'm a freak."
Yeah.
So is Tim Allen a god in the Michigan comedy scene?
No. I mean, not to my knowledge. When you ask that, just that mugshot of him being arrested in Kalamazoo, Michigan for having a bunch of cocaine just comes into my head.
Really?
Well, and then
Oh, yeah, I've
rolling
never seen that
over
mugshot.
on people.
What's that?
And then he rolled over on people. That's how he got off.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh, he did a Tekashi 6ix9ine?
Yeah, he got caught with 3 pounds of coke.
Jesus.
And then when he got arrested, he rolled over on everybody.
Home improvement guy?
Yeah.
Yeah,
3
the
pounds
offer.
of coke?
They're like, hey, if you
Fuck.
tell us, give us some names, you won't do any prison time, and we'll give you your own sitcom show.
Yeah.
That's
Home
fucking
improvement.
insane.
Again. We'll give it back to you.
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, Michigan, it's got a good scene around Detroit. I think it's grown even, exponentially since I left. And then also the western side of the state, like Grand Rapids, had, I think it used to have a few clubs. I think it's down to 1 now. But they've got a pretty good scene there. You have to drive a lot more to get places to perform, but they've got good comedians.
Well, because I think that's where, isn't that where the soccer mom moved to? She's in Michigan.
No, that's
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Oh.
Same thing. I know how you guys think.
Us West Coasters.
Yeah. But Michigan, like Detroit or Grand Rapids is good because a lot of the people in Chicago will comedians will do a run where they do Grand Rapids, Detroit, and Chicago. Not in that order.
In one night?
No, not one night, but they'll just kind of do like
okay.
a road trip
Okay.
through there. So yeah, they have those little hubs.
You ever go to 8 Mile?
It's so funny. So I grew up in a small town, South Lyon, probably 40 miles from Detroit. But those mile roads are everywhere. Like they just
Yeah.
run, for a long time, and they're also just like they have different ones in different cities. So I grew up off of 9 Mile. So I had a joke about like the higher the miles go up, the more white and less dangerous it gets. Or no, more white and less interesting it gets. So like 8 Mile is Eminem, 9 Mile is me, and then 10 Mile is Canada.
Nice one. Nice one.
But you'll be driving, like I remember just driving through my hometown, and you'll see like people posing next to the 8 Mile sign, but it's like you're next to a Kroger and like a horse farm. Like this isn't where Eminem grew up. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna, when you were just like, funny thing, I thought you were gonna be like, me and Marshall, we're tight, we were neighbors.
No, I'd never been to the actual 8 Mile. No.
I think he's probably his daughter's age.
I think she's a little younger. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I remember
Haley's.
those pictures came out and like her college volleyball team. I was like, oh, I'll keep my eye open.
She's hot, yeah. All right. Does anybody have any more questions before we get to our famous bit?
Nope.
Or what?
Well, I don't know if
No.
you know this, but to the tens of listeners we have a famous thing we
More.
do called Inside the Comic Studio.
Brilliant.
Yes.
I have one
fuck it.
question.
What's
Yeah.
up?
Oh,
Why
fucked
haven't
it
you
up,
scheduled
Rob.
your vasectomy yet?
Are you getting
What?
vasectomy?
No, you.
Look at him drinking
Hold on.
moonshine.
Oh, hang on. And, here's my failed vasectomy here. Hang on.
God damn, said it right in front of his kid. Holy
Wow.
He doesn't know. He has no idea.
Holy
Kids don't know.
fuck. That's so
Yeah,
hardcore.
just give it time.
Yeah, when Rob dies and his kids listen to this podcast, his kid's gonna be like, "Fuck, my dad's wanted to go for a long time." God,
Wow.
All right.
What I miss?
we're just making fun of you. It's all right.
We were
Okay.
appalled that you said your failed vasectomy in front of your kid.
I said it's fine. I say shit in front of my kids all the time.
Yep.
Yep.
Do you?
I give him my
You know I do.
give him my heart and a heartbeat, but still,
Still,
you can
he's a
love someone
failed.
and hate them at the same time, right?
Yeah. Yeah. for
Apparently.
sure.
All right. Before we get into the Inside the Comic Studio, Ryan, plug anything you want to plug, social media, any Zoom shows, things like that.
Yeah. Instagram at Ryan-Goodcase. And then my website's just www. If you don't know that part, Ryan Goodcase, and then .com. And yeah, so once life turns back to normal, all my shows on there are posted.
All right,
Curious,
Danny.
what's the ink on your right arm?
What's
Yeah.
that?
The ink on your right arm.
Got a little old tradition
Nice.
style tattoo there.
Doesn't match what I expected.
I know. It's been full of surprises.
What'd you expect? Like a Minecraft tattoo or something?
I didn't expect a tattoo. That's all. He's a very
Full of
polite,
surprises.
well-mannered kid.
Lifts
Okay,
up his
you-
shirt. He's got a Confederate
You
flag.
have a lip tattoo, Rob.
Oh.
You have a tattoo on your lip. On your
And I
inner
was a
lip.
piece of shit growing up. This guy is
Well,
not a piece of shit.
No one would
You have a lip
expect that.
tattoo?
Yeah,
I-
isn't that rad?
No, it's
What
not.
does
It's
it? What does it
stupid.
say?
Oh, I thought I was all serious.
I love
it used to say
pussy.
pain and laughter. 'cause I
All
was
in your
deep.
lip?
Yeah,
I
show
heard.
us.
It's all
Do it.
fucked up.
Do it.
It's in there. Oh, for real? I thought.
I
Damn.
can't
That's
really see
wild.
it, but yeah.
you can't see it.
It's
But-
better
and,
in person.
and my stupid ass used
Wow.
to chew tobacco, so it fucked it all up. So,
That seems like some Joker thing.
it's stupid. I was 19 when I got all my tattoos. I'm glad I stopped.
Yeah.
But I thought those are supposed to wear off like pretty soon though. I had a friend who it was actually a coworker, and after 3 months of working with her, she's like, yeah, I have YOLO tattooed on the inside of my lip. But she's like, it's fine, it'll wear off in a few years.
No, it's
Oh.
still
No.
there.
Dang,
The only
that's
reason
wild.
mine wore off is because I used to chew tobacco. So
Wow.
You're
stupid in many ways.
Wow.
All right, Danny.
You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, Venmo, Cash App at RadChickForever. Danny D. I just got murdered in a roast battle. If you guys want to go to Purple Insults and watch, you guys can.
Who murdered you?
Anthony Zaccaro fucking murdered me, and that's all right. It's fine. It taught me a lot, but still out here trying on Zoom. You know, that's all you can do.
Ouch.
Try.
All right, Rob.
I get my side project, Stand Up Dad's podcast. I do that with my buddy Mike. We talk about parenting because obviously I'm such a great one. We drop new episodes every Sunday. You can find it wherever your better podcasts are sold.
Sold.
I don't know. I made a promise on the last one that if you got Doug's comic book and you didn't like it, the next podcast would be free.
If you're listening, make sure you listen to the period party one. That is gold.
Did you like that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
Sharon, I forgot your fucking name.
It's right
So
there.
much. The original Gagger. You can catch me on the Iambic Poetry Podcast. Just came out with a new episode today with Renee. She's from Stockton, radio personality. And just check out on all your streaming sites. Boom.
All right, and then follow me on Twitter at the Big Nick J. All righty, let's get into it. Ryan, have you listened to our podcast before?
I've listened to the first part of it, of an episode.
Oh, which
So no.
episode?
With Mikey Winfield.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That was a good
Just
one.
get a sample,
Sample.
See what I'm getting into.
That's good because the first couple episodes were rough.
Yeah,
Weren't
you get
they?
some leeway. Get some leeway with the first episodes.
Yeah, the first episodes. Oh, those were bad.
Yeah, I know.
Horrible production.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, you weren't on them.
Yeah.
All right, Inside the Comic Studio is brought to you by Ballsy Brand Ball Wash and Ball Guard. Promo code GAD15 for 15% off your entire order. We'll have a link in the show description. Okay, we ask all comics the same 5 questions. So question number 1, first joke that landed well.
Dang, my first set was in college. I feel like the whole set went pretty well, but I'm thinking of a joke that lasted and worked after that first set. I made a one about being in a nightclub, and a girl was like I felt the girl reach from behind and start to work her hands down my body, and I thought she was like, getting up on me, and I turned around and she was actually dancing on another guy and like using me for support for like a stripper pole.
Oh.
And my first set I closed with that, and I still do that joke sometimes. So yeah, I guess I'd go with that one.
Like a stripper pole.
Yeah,
Like that.
yeah, exactly.
Favorite thing about the
Porter.
local comedy scene?
Favorite thing about the local comedy scene? I guess I like the showcase format. I like that we do sort of shorter sets, 10 minutes and under, and all the shows are generally good about having, different styles and different personalities. So you get like a good sampler platter of comedians.
All right, what's one thing you dislike or would like to see changed?
Gosh, I don't know. I'm not much of a, doer or activist. I don't like to see change.
Well, in the comedy scene, not like within the nation.
Yeah, no, I got you. That's what I meant too. I guess there's a lot more people complaining and asking for stage time than there are people running their own shows. So I think like just less complaining, focus on yourself. Don't worry about the system. If you go up there and worry about your material and try to be funny, then I think the rest will fall into place.
Now we had Steve Fury on, and he sort of stressed the importance of putting on a show. Would you say that's like, if you're not getting stage time, just put on a show?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, if you're not getting stage time, that's the easiest way to get stage time. I personally don't like it because of I don't like booking, just because so many people ask you and hit you up, and I have trouble saying no, and there's just plenty of people who hit you up to do shows that you don't want to book. But the actual like running of a show and hosting is those super important skills that sort of invaluable. Definitely want to get that experience.
All right, we'll have to do the Gag on This showcase eventually, guys.
That'd be cool. Yeah, over Zoom.
Oh, fuck no.
Start it right now.
Yeah,
No.
I'm
Fuck
telling
yeah.
you, boys.
8 different audio tracks that I got to produce? No.
Yeah.
No. Favorite local comedian?
Favorite local comedian. It's just one of those things where I feel like I have an answer for it when I'm not asked it. And then I'm asked it, I just go blank. Let's see. I might go Phil Woods, probably.
I love
I
him.
feel like, yeah, he's one of those guys that should be blowing up if there's any justice in the comedy world.
I let him stay at my house when he was here doing comedy at Laughs, and he stayed in my extra room, and I didn't know him, but he's a fucking great guy. He's awesome.
Yeah. Oh, he's super nice. Yeah. Great
Yeah.
comedian.
Who's your favorite SAC comedian? Just out of curiosity.
How long am I allowed to think?
Don't worry, this will all be edited out pretty much.
Liar.
I like. I remember liking Robert Emoto. It's been a while since I've been up there,
Ooh.
though. Yeah, I think
Okay.
Robert's good. And then I don't know. One of my favorites is Anthony K, but I know he's Modesto and not Sacramento. I lump them together, even though they're geographically not close.
Yeah.
But anywhere that's not Bay Area is just, whatever. Yeah.
All right, lastly, advice to new comedians.
Probably the basic advice of just stage time being tantamount. And when you're starting out, I think it's good to take it seriously. Like, you might see other comedians who have sort of a, like a relaxed style about it, or they're like, oh yeah, it's like a hangout, you just go up and kind of try, but don't try your hardest because it's just an open mic. But just really give it an honest effort and try your hardest, and even like rehearse, like memorize your shit. Don't go up there with notes. Really try to put the effort into it, and I think that'll shine through and pay off.
All right.
Yeah.
I do have one question that just popped in my head.
Mhm.
Is there like club cliques down there?
Club clicks?
In the sense that like when Blacktop was open, there was like a Blacktop crowd, and then there was a SAC comedy spot crowd.
I don't know that there really is between the clubs. I think there is still sort of a division, like with like urban comedy rooms, and then some of the clubs, even like in Bay Area Comedy Network, what gets posted on Facebook. Like, I see these shows and producers who I just never meet or run into in real life, and I don't see them on some of the other shows. So I don't know. I feel that division. I don't know if that's necessarily a clique or if it's just something else.
All right. Sharon,
Yeah.
you're shaking your head in agreement?
Yes, I believe that's true. I confirm. Second the motion.
Yeah.
As the one black guy on the podcast, I'm like, let's look at you.
Well, that's the point.
I
What were
guess
you gonna say, Ryan?
it's like that. I mean, there's probably that division in a lot of places, but Sacramento has that too, right? I think.
Yeah.
Is Miles
We have it
Weber?
bad.
It's bad.
You have it bad because you got not only do you have Punchline and Last Unlimited, they kind of mingle sometimes, but you got places like Comedy Spot that doesn't have, they don't always diverse a lot, but then you have Touch of Class, where it's like, oh, the black guys over there. It's like, and then Tommy T used to be a big thing, but yeah.
I mean, it is like, it's tough sometimes to go between the styles, because I did a charity show that was like it was like one of the room was maybe 20% white. There's a lot of like a very diverse audience, and I went on after Phil Woods, who the pace and the style was just completely different than I was used to, and he completely killed. It was one of those sets that I watched, and while I was watching it, I knew I was going to eat the biggest dick afterwards. And I was happy to just keep my head above water. Like, it was not a good set, and I would have felt really bad about it afterwards. But like, just to be able to not completely bomb after that, I felt good. So there's definitely like my style was not going to work of like really kind of structured jokes where I'm not really using a lot of like personality. I'm not like talking how normal people talk. It's not conversational. They weren't going to like that at all. So yeah. I think going between those two different styles is difficult. So most people are like, well, I'm just not going to try, you know, I'm just going to stick to what I know.
I always hear that you have like you have to when a new comic comes up after someone killed it or something, you have to reset the room, and then get it started.
Well, I certainly reset it. I reset it and turned it off and threw it out the window.
Throughout the remote control.
All right. Does anybody have any other questions? No.
All right. Thank you guys for having me. It was fun.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Ryan. It was. I appreciate it immensely.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right. Later, guys.
Thanks,
you
man.
helped
Sure. Be
fulfill
safe,
his
man.
fantasies.
Yep.
So thanks, Ryan.
Of
Later.
course.
All right.
All right.